not counting anymore. We're
No more
just
3,
gonna
2, 1.
yeah, no, we're just gonna roll right into it.
Okay.
I feel like it's a bit more natural. It just kind of goes with the flow.
You sing the song again?
No, we're not. We can't do the same gimmick twice.
No.
God, we need fresh new content for our loving, die-hard fans.
All 3.
3 of them? We're up?
We might be. I mean, you mentioned Alex, and then there's me.
And there's me.
Yeah, so there's
I'm a fan. Come on.
You're not subscribed on iTunes.
I haven't been on iTunes in like 6 years. I guess I should.
That is probably the best way to...
Actually, Melanie and her father have been wanting to download our podcast and listen. So you'd have 2 more off of them as well.
Oh. Alright. So, hey everybody. Welcome to the 102 cast. Episode 6. Wow. We made it this far without dying. That's
considering the curse, that's a feat.
It's 2 feet.
Oh.
6 feet.
Alright, so I'm Kyle.
Mike.
Steve.
And here at the 102 cast, what we have is a big, giant, stupid list
Hey.
of 102 titles.
It ties, yes.
Ties.
Very bright ties.
I always mess this up somehow. That are either a movie, TV show, or anime that we have picked. We picked 17 good and 17 bad each. We all put it together to make a big 102 list.
Yes.
And each week we get a random one spit out at us. And this week is on Steve's list.
This week is Andy Barker P.I.
Which list was this on?
This is on my good list. This is a show from, I believe, 2004.
Mm-hmm.
It lasted like 6 episodes, I think. 6 or 8
it was only
episodes.
6 Didn't even do a full season?
Didn't even manage to get a full season.
Oh, God. I thought they at least did that.
It stars Andy Richter of Conan fame, I think. I don't know if he's done anything besides Conan O'Brien show, to be perfectly honest. It's about... So Andy Richter's this like do-goody accountant who just started his own practice, or whatever you call it, his own firm, I guess. And he accidentally gets confused for being a PI, and he becomes just a private eye / accountant, and he just kind of rolls with it and goes with it.
Okay. That's something I can get behind.
It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. There's a lot of like references and stuff. So like the comedy, you kind of have to, sometimes you have to like get it, I guess, or you have to like know what they're referencing, and they do a lot of like visual gags and stuff like that you have to like pay attention to. I'm hoping that it's as good as I remember it being, because otherwise I'll feel really terrible.
Hey, well, remember, last time I kind of messed up with Queen of Blood there a little bit. It was a little extra.
I mean, now that I'm looking back at Queen of Blood, I'm glad I watched it. Yo, if you get a chance, look up the trailer to Queen of Blood.
Really?
That's all you need. Like, it shows everything. Like, it cuts out that hour that you don't need.
Okay.
If you thought about watching this movie, you should just watch the trailer. You're done. Kind of like Batman vs. Superman.
I never actually saw that.
I haven't seen the movie yet, but I've seen the trailer, and it just ruins the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Ruined the entire film.
Yeah, I have not seen that. Actually, the 3 of us haven't. So that's kind of interesting. If it's something,
that's something we could maybe put on a list.
Yeah.
I actually have. I was going to watch it this week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we want to just hop into our weeks.
Yeah, sure.
Go for it.
I was going to watch it, so I have 3 big things that I wanted to bring up. So I'll try to Cliff's Notes them. I was going to watch Batman vs. Superman.
I'm sorry, did you say Cliff's
Notes? They are Cliff's Notes.
It's possessive?
I don't know if it's possessive, but it's Cliff's Notes, not Cliff Notes.
Huh.
If I remember correctly. I could be blowing shit on my ass right now. Somebody's going to fact check this and be like, Steve's a fucking asshole. No, so I was going to watch Batman vs. Superman, and then I realized it was 3 hours, and it was 3 hours of a movie I really don't want to watch. I'm not really...
God. I can't remember the last time I sat through 3 hours of a movie.
Might be Hateful Eight.
Yeah, maybe.
Pulp Fiction.
That was...
Pulp Fiction's 3 hours?
It's real long.
Pulp Fiction's about 3 hours, and it's 3 hours of gold.
It doesn't feel like 3 hours.
No.
Huh.
But Hateful Eight with you guys was the last one in a theater that I have watched as a 3 hour.
That was super fun.
I don't feel like Batman versus Superman needs to be 3 fucking hours long. Like come the fuck on.
No, I just want to watch them beat the shit out of each other and then
Exactly.
cut.
Yeah, it should just be Batman versus Superman.
I hear they cut out like 45 minutes worth of footage.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Probably. That makes some sense. But, so I was going to watch Batman vs. Superman. I decided against it. I watched Hardcore Henry instead, which,
I want to
we just watched Bad Motherfucker. It's the same people who did Hardcore Henry. I remember watching the video for Bad Motherfucker and thinking, and hearing about Hardcore Henry after that, and like, is that gonna work? Doing like a feature-length film? And it does.
It does.
Oh, it does.
Oh.
It was, so, I actually took like a shitload of notes while I was watching it. I don't know why. I was just in a note-taking mood. It's not a good movie, like by any stretch. As far as like movies go, it's not very good. As far as action films go, it's so much fun to watch. It's a great.
It's kind of like would you say it was a guilty pleasure kind of film? In that regard?
I could say guilty pleasure. It's also, they do some interesting stuff with the camera work. I mean, it's all pretty gimmicky because it's all filmed from the helmet cam or whatever. And then they do gimmicky stuff. It's basically like watching a Let's Play. That's what I felt like I was doing. I felt like I was watching somebody else play a video game.
Yeah,
that was like, kind of like it's the kind of game you'd play. You'd give it 3 or 4 hours. It's like Call of Duty. You play through the campaign and then you're done with it. And they do a lot of like video game logic stuff too, and then the whole story was just out there, just completely fucking out there. They do some clever stuff. I don't really like. I'm going to try to dance around and not spoil anything. They do some really clever stuff, but there's no like reason for any of it. It's literally just kind of like this shitstorm of stuff happening, and this guy's in the middle of it, and then there's no like reason for it. Like the main villain, his whole motivation is like, I'm a dick with an accent who can move shit with his mind. Like that's it. That's his entire motivation for the entire. Like, so it was difficult at times to be like I wanted to like it, but then at the same time I was like, this is really bad. This is not a good.
Would you put this on your bad list of films? Like it's something to watch, but it's
I don't know. I don't know where to put it.
Okay.
I think it's got a seat on the bad list as far as just like film goes, but it's so much fun to watch. Like at the end, I was like trying to rate it, and then like the last 10 minutes, I went from like, this was so much fun to watch, 8 out of 10, like this is great, I love this movie, and then I was like, like 5 minutes later, I was like 6 out of 10. I'm kind of pissed off right now. And then no, it was actually really good, 7.5. I'll give it a 7.5.
Okay, I'm very intrigued now. I really want to see the film.
It was a lot of fun. It's one that I'd strongly recommend watching, even though it's really not that good.
I hear the main character doesn't talk at all.
Yeah, the main character does not talk at all. So that's what I'm saying with like they do like video game logic stuff. Main character doesn't talk. You got this guy, the Grand Theft Auto 3, or a lot of times in like the Call of Duty games, your character doesn't really talk. Other people tell him what to do.
Like Zelda.
Yeah, like Zelda.
Yeah.
You've got the guy who inexplicably is always there to give you missions. Like it's literally, that's how the plot moves, is he gets like a phone call from this guy who'll be like, you gotta get to this point on your map, I just marked it. And he looks at his phone and he's got a little GPS marker.
Okay.
Like, they do shit like that. I'm like, this is just a video game. So there's stuff like that. And then there's stuff with the villain, he's got his gimmick. The villain he's telekinetic. And there's like a big battle at the very end where he fights the guy. I think they really only made him telekinetic because if he wasn't telekinetic, he would be no match for the main character, who's a cyborg, who could just crush shit, with a single hand. So that's one thing. That was one big thing that I did. The other two things were, I started listening to a podcast called F This Movie.
Okay.
And it's been interesting because they have a very similar format. They don't watch like random stuff like we do, but they do the same kind of thing where it's like they talk about their weeks, what they've been watching, and then they go into like an in-depth discussion about the movie that they're discussing that week. And it's clearly like they prepared for it with all these notes and stuff like that. But that was interesting. I listened to their episode for Grand Budapest Hotel and for Star Wars: The Force Awakens
Mhm.
because I have a tendency when I watch something to kind of decide how I feel about it and then immediately go to the internet to find other people who feel the exact same way. And dissenters are morons, and like it's not a healthy thing. I'm trying to get out of doing that. And so that's why I picked Grand Budapest Hotel because it's a movie that I love, and they had some negative points that I actually was like, oh, after hearing it and being like, okay, that's fair. Like that's fair. You guys are right. And then the same thing for Force Awakens. I hated it, and listening to them talk about it, they made some really good points about some good things about it, and I had to kind of admit to myself like it really wasn't that bad.
I hated it.
I came out of that movie so mad.
Really?
I felt so cheated. Because it was
so similar.
Because it was so similar, and I wasn't satisfied. I felt like it was too. I felt like it was too like playing to your nostalgia in a lot of ways.
I mean,
But I also
what did you
should-
expect with a Star Wars film?
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I also went into it like I was predisposed to not liking it from them. I was like ready to not like it the minute I walked into the theater, purely because I also just I'm not crazy about J.J. Abrams. I was like, he's gonna do to this what he did to Star Trek, and it's gonna be the same thing all over again.
Nope. Mars is
And
attacking.
I'm gonna be upset.
Countdown to Marceline taking out the microphone.
She's investigating.
All right, and last thing, and then I'll shut up.
Oh, you're fine. Go ahead.
This weekend I visited my parents to help out with they were having like a high school reunion type thing at their house, and they wanted help.
Oh boy.
So I'm helping out, but there wasn't like tons for me to do. It was mostly like stay in the house and fetch us hot dogs when we need them and stuff like that. So my mom,
Hot dogs are working food.
my mom works with somebody whose son's about our age, and he's got cancer, and it's like a really rare form of cancer, and it's not, outlook's not positive. But she's been trying to help her coworker out, and like she brings them meals and stuff like that. And she's been talking to the kid a lot, and he likes movies. So she's been trying to. My parents have shitloads of movies in their house because my mom, like a movie comes out, she's already bought like 3 copies of it.
Oh wow.
I don't know why. She doesn't watch them. So she's been going through her collection and just bringing him movies to watch. And she kind of just gave me some parameters. She was like, go through our movies, and he says he likes comedies, action films, and dramas. Doesn't like sci-fi. That was all I really had to go on. So I had this kind of macabre task of making a list for a person who's dying of cancer. It's just like a really interesting experience that I had this weekend. I tried to pick. I felt like really weird about some of the stuff I picked. Like The Road was on the list. He actually went for it, which I was really surprised and also a little bit concerned about. Because The Road is super bleak and dismal and like really depressing.
God.
Yeah, so I tried to pick. He also likes he said he liked Zero Dark 30, so I tried to go for the that kind of military drama. Gave him Behind Enemy Lines, which is a classic, fantastic
Black Hawk
Owen
Down.
Wilson. Black Hawk Down we don't have, otherwise that would have been on the list for sure. But Behind Enemy Lines and A Few Good Men, I think, were the two.
Oh
big
yeah,
ones that
you
he
good
did.
band. Wasn't that? No, what was Band of Brothers? That was.
Band of Brothers was the series, yeah. So anyway, now that I've gone on forever,
Wasn't that long?
It wasn't that long,
it
no.
feels like forever.
Well, I guess I'll go with my week. I've had a lot of my family went back to Florida, but another relative that lives in Florida has come up, my uncle. And so I had the fun task of picking them up from the airport at 11 o'clock at night on this past Sunday.
Always fun.
It is the Democratic National Convention
Oh,
going
God.
on right now.
Oh my god.
And going into Philly International Airport to go get them was an insane mess. There is cars everywhere at 11 o'clock at night, and people honking at each other, not driving well, almost hitting and killing one another. all because I'm assuming this is because of the convention. Not that I've been to the Philly airport 1,000 times. For all I know, the hustle and bustle could kind of always be going, but it was pretty bad. I mean, when we finally went the right way, because I went the wrong way the initial time, it almost spit me back out onto the highway, so I had to quick cut in
Right.
and loop back around. So when I finally got into the under tunnel for the baggage claim to pick everybody up, they all just kind of hopped in and we zoomed off. But to start out that evening, as we get back, we decided to stop off at a Wawa to just kind of get a little bit of food because my uncle was hungry. And like, okay, so we stop off the one in our that's right next door, that Super Wawa they just opened, and I park off to the side where there's no real vehicles around. Just figure, okay, it's an easy park. We'll get food. We'll come out. Well, the cops decide to pull somebody over. They decide to drive all the way through the parking lot of Wawa, park right next to where we were parked. The cops, it's two cop cars parked right behind us and him. So they kind of block us in. We're sitting like, oh, Jesus Christ, come on. Although it's kind of funny. It's like, oh, welcome to New Jersey, you know?
Yeah.
And so we're sitting there, and my uncle's kind of listening, and apparently someone's license was no good. I don't know if it was fake or just expired, or maybe it's been suspended. I don't know. But more cop cars started showing up for the gentlemen that were in the car, and the cops came up to us and like, are we blocking and keeping you from leaving? Well, we told them, yeah, but we didn't want to interrupt what they were doing. We kind of just let them be. They're like, all right, I'll have the cars move. So they moved the cars immediately for us to get out. So
oh, that's nice.
It was very nice. I think they also really wanted to deal with the gentleman in the car. So I think but they didn't want us there. Like they were going to arrest them, but they don't want other citizens right then and there.
Right.
So that was an interesting start to everything. At the beginning of the week, I really didn't watch a whole heck of a lot. I hadn't really seen much. I played a little bit of video games, but I've just been very busy, except since my uncle's with us, later at night, I've been sitting on the couch with him and just watching whatever's on TV that he wants to watch. Like the one night we were just watching South Park, and they had the Christmas in July stuff going on, so it was all Christmas episodes, and he had never seen any of them. So he'd never seen Mr. Hanky the Christmas Pooh before.
Oh, wow.
And it was so funny. And then the last night, I was actually watching There's Something About Mary with him. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that one.
It's been a very long time.
It's a very funny film. I'm not going to say it's ungodly funny where you're in tears the whole time, but it's got some really funny moments in it. It's a good thing for a watch. Like if you and your girlfriend want to watch something funny, but it's also kind of a romance film, yeah, go ahead and watch. I've seen it before, so I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched most of it and I ended up heading off to bed. But you see some scenes again, like when he gets stuck in his zipper, or when the dog dies and the guy trying to resuscitate it by shocking it with these two electrical cords. There's some real funny stuff that happens in the film. And so it's just those little laughs that kept us kind of going. I've actually had a similar week like you had, Steve, where a couple of days ago, I visited a relative that is not doing well, has been given 3 to 6 months. They've been battling a very serious brain tumor for a very long time. And every day they've been with us has been a blessing, and every day they continue to still be around is great. It's fantastic to have them around and to see them. And it's hard, because we went, it was only a few of us that went, because we didn't want to overwhelm or anything like that. And you could tell the family was very happy we were there. They really were. They appreciate our presence. But it's also, to know why we're here kind of visiting for me, this might be the last time I'm able to visit. So this is almost, I don't want to say it's a goodbye, because hopefully she can live much longer than what has been expected. But you never know. So it was nice to see everyone. I wish everyone the best, But that's just been my week. There hasn't been much besides work,
Yeah.
hanging out with some family members, and a couple of films I have watched like that. So,
What you got?
All right. For those of you who aren't in the New Jersey area, this week has been the week of humidity and high temperatures.
Yes.
yeah.
Did you ever get your AC fixed?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank God. But that still has not saved me from dying. I don't know what it is about the heat in me. I seem to get sick when I'm too hot. Monday, I was out.
Yeah, I
I,
noticed when
I,
you
I,
weren't at
uh,
work.
Yeah.
I got really sick.
I don't do
And,
well in the heat either.
yeah. So, it gave me some time to, like, just relax, do some other things. And you'd think I'd, maybe watch something. No. There's this game. I don't know if I talked about it before. Zero's Escape. It's a series of 3 games, and the most recent one came out called Zero's Time Dilemma. If you guys like escape the room kind of
Okay.
games with crazy plot lines, like turn the whole plot around, flip it upside down, and like make it slightly meta here and there. It's all over the place, and it's a really fun
I
time.
don't think I've ever played an escape the room game that had a plot. So now I'm actually intrigued
Yeah,
because
no.
I love those games. I
Okay,
love those
so
those puzzles.
if you're interested, the first one that came out is called Nine Doors, Nine Rooms, Nine Peoples, or something like that.
So 999 or
Yeah.
whatever.
Don't play that one
Okay.
because the whole uh, crux of the plot is like these branching paths, like almost like a tournament bracket but backwards.
Okay.
So you'd start at one point, and each point branches and then branches and branches. In that game, they don't show you the branches. So I had to physically draw the branches like myself. The second game, however, makes everything a lot better. That one's on 3DS and Vita, if you have it. No one has a Vita except me.
I have a PSP.
But no, that game is super fun. You don't need to have played the first one. There are some reoccurring characters, but they explain everything. Even with the third one, just now, it actually has the main characters from the first game and the second game in there. But you don't really need to play it because they explain everything. Um, there's a lot of science bullshit,
Okay.
but once you understand the world with this kind of bullshit in it, it becomes very interesting. Like they make up diseases and like things brains can do and like things medicines can do and like certain disorders and some people may or may not have them and it's interesting. It's like puzzle rooms mixed with Saw.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like, okay, you have to solve this and do this right, or everyone's neck thing explodes.
Are there like
Oh, shit.
timers?
No.
Okay.
There's never timers on the puzzles, but there are hard decisions sometimes.
Okay.
Like, it is very hard, like, do the thing, don't do the thing. Oh no, the thing, I died. So I played and beat that. That ending was so topsy-turvy, but I love the crap out of it. I can see why people wouldn't like it,
Mhm.
but like that kind of plot is such a guilty pleasure of mine. Like I don't want to ruin too much, but like
Okay.
it's definitely all over the place. As for what I've watched, again, I've been keeping up with my animes. Mob Psycho, the one I've been talking about like crazy, just had a really, really fantastic episode. Even if you don't like this, just try to watch up to episode 3 and then see what you think. Or hell, just watch episode 3. Like
You don't need the first two.
you really don't need the first 2 because you kind of get the premise. Just get that shot. I'm really excited in JoJo right now. So part 4 is going on right now, and they just revealed the big bad for the whole season. Like he just showed up, and I just got all kinds of excited. Like, oh man, you don't know. Like I've been waiting so long for this guy to show up, and it's gonna be fun times.
Like the manga or something? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because I read the manga,
You
and
read
now
the
the
manga,
anime's
right.
going. I feel like there's one thing I wanted to mention. I'll just wrap it there for now.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
No, that's it for my week.
Oh, okay. I just want to kind of interject that something I forgot about with my week is I started listening a lot more to a program that I have that's very similar to Pandora. It's Samsung's own version of it. They call it Milk Music.
Milk music?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's hysterical.
Oh yeah, you sent me a link.
Yes, I did. It was a song that I thought you might enjoy because when I was listening to it, it kind of reminded me of you and like some of your tastes with stuff.
Okay, I still haven't checked it out.
That's
and
okay.
I wasn't sure what that link was.
That's okay. It's also I have a station on there that's from the band Arcona, which I know you've heard of. For you guys that don't know, it's a Russian band. It's a Slavic pagan death metal band, I think is what it's considered. It's very interesting. It's like kind of like the folk music. Like they have flutes, bagpipes. What is it? The accordion, as well as like a full metal band in front of it with all of it playing. So it's really interesting. I kind of really like it, to be honest. And it's all in Russian, so I don't understand what she's saying. But when she's singing, she's got a gorgeous voice. And
That's all that matters.
Do you remember the name of the band?
The band's Arcona.
Arcona.
That's
Arcona.
yeah.
Is it spelled weird?
No, it's Arkona.
Okay.
So it's very simple. There's Slovo.
I was thinking maybe there were some Russian letters in there or something.
No, it's just regular alphabet. At least for
thing that
for
looks like an R, things that look like another
Yeah.
R, a lump.
a backwards letter or something. Yeah,
D.
yeah. It's regular. There's Slovo is the one album, and Go Roidy Go is another one. And I have a station that's based off of that band, so it grabs a similar thing. So I get some German bands that are similar.
So it works
some English-
essentially like Pandora.
Exactly, yeah. And it's actually, I would say it's a clone of Pandora.
Okay.
Except I have a wheel to kind of go between different genres of music and whatnot.
Cool.
So I like it a little bit more personally, but there's a band on there that you had originally shown me that I've heard a lot more songs from now called Ailstorm. It's the yeah. think of pirates making metal music, and that's what it is. And I love it. The song "Drink" came on, which is about stealing people's beer, and it's great. I love it.
Have you ever heard of Korpiklani?
No.
Oh, I should send you
No.
Korpiklani.
Do it.
They're like a Slavic metal band. They've got a song called Vodka. It's literally just about vodka.
Please send me that. That's the problem right now. Is everyone makes recommendations for me for things, and I forget. And it's not because I don't care. It's because I just honestly, there's so many things going off in my mind. I keep forgetting things. I have to really start working on writing things down, personally. But Ailstorm, they make me laugh because it's a bunch of pirates as a metal band now, and like that's all it is, and I love it. It's so much fun, and this is what I listen to at work before everyone else comes in to keep myself awake and alert.
There you go.
And it's great, you know. So I recommend anyone checking them out and Arcona as well, as long as you're okay with Russian. But I've been having a lot of fun with that music. Found a few other bands, I can't remember their names, but I've saved those songs kind of deal. Like, wow, that's really good. Let me save that for later. And then there's other stations I have. One is off of Powerman 5000, which for anyone that doesn't know, that's Rob Zombie's younger brother. They're the ones that did the song when Worlds Collide, which was a big song around like the late 90s, early 2000s kind of deal, and Drop the Bombshell, stuff like that. I have a station off of that as well that I've been getting a ton of music that was around when we were younger, that was very big, that I didn't know the name of it or who did it, and now it's kind of comes like, oh, that's what that is. All right, so you kind of relive a little bit of childhood in that.
It's kind of like when you find out that Sandstorm is the name of that song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's been stuff like that. It's been really nice, and I do. I love
That sounds
music. Yeah,
I
that's it.
remembered something big about Hardcore Henry that I wanted to tell you guys specifically.
Okay.
Chappie's in it.
What?
He's
What?
he's like the secondary, like the second main character. The guy who did the voice for Chappie is the guy who gives the main character all of the missions.
Oh, I thought you meant the actual robot.
No.
I was going to be like, how did I not know?
That would be amazing.
That would have been the coolest shit
He might
ever.
as well.
He's just
in all
holding like
honesty.
6 PS4s. Did you forget? Because I didn't.
Life goes in.
All you need is like 8 PS4s to make consciousness.
Oh God, that movie was a train wreck. No, he's in it.
A beautiful
He's really good. He was like the entire time I was watching, I was like, this guy's really good. Why haven't I heard of him before? And then I looked him up and was like, holy shit, he's Chappie.
That's
And,
fantastic.
Tim Roth's in it for like a minute. He's like the fourth build. It's hilarious. He has like one line of dialogue, and that's it. That's his entire part in the entire movie.
That's fantastic.
All right, I guess we'll get moving on to
Andy Barker P.I.
Andy Barker P.I.
Andy Barker P.I.
Andy Barker.
Andy Barker.
Really hope you guys like it. 'cause
I think it's gonna be good.
I'm realizing this is the first.
I
good
have
one. This is the first one
watched
from
a
the
little
good
bit of
ones.
the pilot.
Okay.
Like it was on the same time Heroes was, or like
I
after
believe so.
Heroes.
I remember you telling
So
me.
yeah, I think I don't remember a thing. I remember at one point, I don't know, some scene where he's in like a storage closet. That's about it. I don't know.
Yeah,
Let's see if that's even.
We'll see if it happens.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll check back with you after Andy Barker P.I.
Oh yeah.
See ya.
See?
Bye bye.
Ha! Just as I thought. Guys, pills. Yeah, you'll have to have your boys in the lab analyze those, but I bet you dollars to donuts they're Coumadin.
Yeah, it says Coumadin right on it.
It does? Oh, yeah. Tiny letters. Yeah, she stole those, replaced them with sugar pills. You find those sugar...
Got him.
Good. Good work. Well, anyway, she's probably a flight risk. I'd recommend a full manhunt.
She's right there.
Well, our work is...
We're done.
You could at least let me have that one.
I hope we get something from your list, because you have all the shit that I've never heard of.
Yeah, mine's a lot of foreign and anime shit and Jackie Chan movies.
Oh yeah.
I am hoping that it's my list next time, but
Yeah, you're due.
I am
You
due.
will do.
So guys, we're back from Andy Barker P.I.
Yes.
Exciting tale of a man's journey to be what he's not.
Yeah.
It's a good way to put it.
So who do you want to start, or should I start?
I can go, sure. I mean, when I watched Andy Barker, let's just line up for everybody, really. He's an accountant. He opens up his own accounting firm, I guess you would say. Would you guys agree with it's kind of his own?
Yeah.
Like his own.
Solo.
He kind of opens his own business, and a woman comes in and thinks he's a PI because the particular room that he has used to be a PI. So he is mistaken for one of those, and he kind of finds out he has a bit of a knack for it, or really enjoys it. So, besides putting the show aside for a second, I think a lot of us from college, not everyone, but a very large amount, I can say that they went to school for something, but ended up becoming something completely different than what they even got their degree in.
Yeah, true. They say what you train at is not necessarily what you're good at.
Right, so I found that kind of hitting a little bit on that note. But as well, there was a lot of comedy in it that wasn't overbearing, but was very different.
Yes.
We'll put it like the one man that everyone found sexy was really a very large gentleman that died of a stroke or heart attack rather. But it was comical in its own light way. Like it wasn't over the top where we're busting out laughing hysterically, but we're laughing, and I enjoyed it personally. So I know there's only 6 episodes. I'd be willing to watch the last 4. Like I really would. And it's kind of a shame it only lasted that long.
It's cringy. What about you, Kyle?
Yeah. Oh, I absolutely love this. Like, I have no problem saying that this show's sense of like mostly dry humor mixed with like a little bit of like cornball and like maybe some like some raunchy humor here and there with the secretary and the video guy.
Yeah.
But the setups and the thought put into a lot of the jokes, like you have a show like Community where you can tell that there's a lot of pacing behind every joke. Like sometimes they'll even set up whole scenes for just like one throwaway line. This doesn't have as much planning as that, but it definitely has the same kind of mindset when thinking of comedy, where everything kind of stacks on each other, and it's not in a way that like you'd see in today's sitcoms where it's like, oh, funny joke, wait for a laugh track, oh, funny joke, like hit there. And everything kind of builds up one thing at a time.
Right.
And I don't know, it just flows so well. And even the parts that don't flow well, you feel like that's on purpose. Like it's choppy and it's just really enjoyable because there's just like full stops here and there.
Right. It never stretched. It always, like you said, it kind of flowed well each episode. As they came to their conclusion, you're like, oh, okay. It's never like, when's it gonna end or what's
Yeah.
going on? Like,
They don't stick too long on a joke, and even jokes they do the whole episode are hilarious. A fat guy running in slow motion, that holding a sandwich that's flopping in slow motion, that'll never not be funny.
it's very true.
And it's very like lowbrow humor. But
Yes, but
but it's like mixed with like kind of smart jokes almost.
Yeah, their way around it was very well done.
Yeah.
Steve, how about some of yours, maybe?
So I'm glad that you guys liked it because this was I remember watching this when it first aired and loving it, and my whole family, my brother and my sister and I all loved it, and then it got canceled. We were all pretty broken up about that, and then years later, I think after I'd gotten my own place in college, I decided to dig it up again and try to find it and watch it again. I was like, this is still... Because I couldn't really remember. I was like,
right.
Was it really as good as we thought it was? Like, was I just like a kid laughing at dumb humor? Nope. It was fantastic watching it all over again.
I mean, I'm trying to put myself in the mindset of... And, like, this was NBC, if I remember correctly.
I think so.
Yeah, because, like, it was the same, like, slot, like, right up to Heroes. The night slot is kind of a hard thing to hit if you're not a dark drama.
Yeah.
Even comedies, like, you need to be like SNL or something like that to hit there. I don't think this aired on the right network, I think is the problem.
I think that's part of the problem. Yeah.
If this aired in an era like today where, like, internet shows go crazy, if this was a Netflix original,
Yeah.
this would explode. Like, this is so definitely easily bingeable.
Mhm.
Like, I just want more. Like, I would totally have binged all 6 episodes.
I think
It's so easy to... It's only like 2 hours. 3
Yeah.
hours.
I think part of what I also liked is although there were like the action sequence is or whatever throughout the episodes, they weren't. I guess I would say violent.
Mm.
They had a weird taste about them that was well done. Like when they fight and the one guy's trying to swim with a golf club, but it's overly dramatic to where it's kind of silly, but it's
And he's, like, fending him off with an umbrella with almost no, like, effort at all.
Just,
As they're, like,
having
having
a
a conversation. It's,
or
like,
when he drives.
it's secondary.
Yeah, or he drives in a cart through a bunch of, I guess that was golf balls, and they kind of
Slow
fly in
motion.
slow motion. It's like you said, a little bit of that dry humor. There's a bit of action, but there's not an overly serious tone to it, and I think that's what I enjoyed about it.
Yeah, like, you see a Jackie Chan fight, he's fighting with the chair, but it's, like, really serious. This would be like, I have a chair. I'm gonna wave it in front of you haphazardly. Ah.
Yeah, there's a charm to it that I really
Oh
like.
my god. Such charm. Like,
Yeah.
I can't agree with you more with that.
It's a shame. It's a shame it didn't make it. And like you said, it could very well just been that wrong time slot. They were trying to appeal to the wrong audience at the wrong time.
Yeah, I feel like maybe this sense of humor is more in now than it was before.
I think that's
Because-
also... I think it was a little bit ahead of its time.
you think that this,
Because
you
Conan
know-
produced it along with...
He helped create it. He was one of the co-creators. I think,
Yeah.
too.
Which is interesting because I normally don't like Conan at all. He's never made
Well,
me laugh.
he's blowing up a bit more, like, in the past couple years. And, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like
but I'm
that
saying
sense
that's
of
what
humor is more a nowadays kind of thing.
this. What he's made with this, I did enjoy. That's what I'm saying. Is it's a little bit different for me in that regard.
Okay.
As funny as it is, like I kind of agree with you. Whenever I remember the last time I watched Conan's like Late Show, it was
Terrible.
painful to watch at times.
Terrible.
He just didn't. Not necessarily because it wasn't really funny or anything. He just seemed like he wasn't enjoying himself. He just seemed really bitter and like angry.
He never
And-
made me laugh either.
I actually enjoyed Andy Richter way more than I enjoyed Conan. So I think maybe that helps. Like,
I'm surprised he didn't make any kind of cameo in this. Like,
I
you would
think
think the
he
duo
might.
would show up.
he might be in it later on, one of the later episodes.
I mean, what's
I'm
his
not
name from
sure.
Arrested Development? It's
Yeah,
fantastic.
Tony Hale was great. in
Yeah,
this,
he plays a video rental guy
Yeah.
who works
Yeah.
directly below Andy Richter, and who later falls for the secretary. And the
Yeah.
interracial jokes are
Yeah, those are.
it's like purposely distasteful
Yeah.
and hilarious.
It's well done.
And I gotta appreciate how vanilla like his conversations with his wife are. They're so
They're
harmless,
so innocent,
and
yeah.
cutesy that
They
it's
are-
just like, oh my god, this is amazing.
There's one scene in I think it actually might be the third episode where so I don't know if you noticed, you see it in the very first shot of when they're outside his house, their mailbox is actually a duck.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody leaves like a threatening letter in his mailbox, and she makes kind of this like off the cuff remark to him about how somebody left a threatening letter in our mail duck and you're not going to do anything about it. And she says it with such conviction, like she's so serious about it. She says mail duck, and it's so, oh my, I don't know, that's the one thing that stands out whenever I think about that show, is the fucking mail duck.
Steve, you want a mail duck, don't you?
I want a mail duck so bad just because of this show.
Like what you were hitting off on, Kyle, with him and his wife being kind of more of the vanilla conversation where it's, a little harmless. But I also liked, I was hitting on that same point, is they aren't overly emotional or overly romantic, or like a lot of shows nowadays they push to that. I get when you watch a show, everything should be a little more dramatic and enhanced. I get that, but it gets kind of old. So seeing this where it's like a little bit more just harmless, kind of goofy, and just a little bit, I don't know, I like that.
I think the world needs a show like this right now. Like, you definitely, like you were saying, like, it's a lot more subtle in all those categories. Like, you find any other show like this, you're gonna see the dial turned up high somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, the action scenes will maybe have a little bit too much money behind them. You have, like, guns flying everywhere, and he's like, oh, we dodged the bullet. Like, no, he gets shot at maybe, like, once, but, like, they're obviously really bad gangsters who are too, like... They're talking about, like, oh, you can
exercise.
You
more
need to
potassium.
stretch. Yeah. Oh, man. It's smart.
It is, yeah, I would say that's apt.
So I gotta say, it's hard to talk about stuff I really like.
That, I feel like this has come up before.
Yeah, like...
Like, was it after Magi? What was the last thing we watched that we really liked?
I think
Magi was the
where we-
big one, because then after that was Short Circuit. Then my three of Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Yeah, okay, it was Magi, but yeah, it can be really hard to talk in detail with what you like, because, well, not only do we don't want to spoil it for you guys, but like, it can be kind of hard to. It's a lot easier to pinpoint when something's sour than when it's fantastic.
Well, that's life, too. Many of people focus on the bad things, not the good things. Not that there's not an equal amount of both, but for some reason, negative things stick with us longer. If you sit through something you really enjoyed, you just kind of walk away with that feeling of, man, I really enjoyed that. And it kind of almost stays there, where if something negative happens, you pinpoint every single itty-bitty little bit. So,
yeah, and it's almost like if you... Kind of like how I was saying before about I walked into The Force Awakens expecting to just hate it. When you are already in that like negative mindset, you just nitpick every tiny little thing that went wrong, and it's so much easier to focus on all the bad stuff than it is to, like after you come out of a movie you really liked or a show or whatever, you're just like, man, that was good. It was just good.
Right. It was good. Watch it.
Yeah, that was so much fun. I want to do it again.
I would definitely list this as my favorite thing on the podcast so far.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Even
wow.
more favorite than Magi.
Well, see, that's hard because Magi is technically on my list. But see, I've watched all of it. I know what it's.
That's fair. Yeah, because
Okay.
I don't think I'd
To
put
be
this
fair,
one
you guys didn't get to the point where it doesn't get as good.
That's good.
It's definitely rushed towards the end. And that's in like the whole other season. Season 1's amazing.
Mhm.
Like, feel free to just watch that. But just know, you can definitely tell at the end where they're like, fuck, we need to finish.
Yeah.
And then, like, literally everyone shows up. Everyone does their super awesome, amazing ability for no reason.
Okay,
and it's
it's
just
one of
like,
those endings.
Okay.
I feel like it's one of the, it's almost like it's good that this particular show was so short-lived. It's kind of like you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
You know, that's a good point. I don't know
Yeah.
if I could, like... Alright, I could definitely see 12 episodes from this. 24.
Yeah,
They'd need some new kind of hook.
yeah. I can see, like, I almost feel like it almost should have been so short-lived.
So you think like a mini series?
Yeah, like a mini.
Oh yeah, this could easily be a miniseries, but like maybe when it gets revisited, maybe it hops like 3 years in the future where he has some shit under his belt. Also, like I was gonna say, like, oh, maybe he gets a baby. But does he have a baby already?
I don't know. He had a car seat.
there was a baby car seat in the back of his car in the beginning, and like they don't show him with the baby at all.
Yeah.
I
think it comes
thought
up later, but I'm not
maybe
positive.
they when his wife was folding clothes, I thought maybe I'd see some baby clothes. So I was like intently searching.
Mhm.
No,
It could be a point that they want to touch on that there's a possibility of there being a child, but it's also a dynamic that they have never really explored because I also look at a lot of shows that there wasn't a baby, that they added one in later when they thought the show was dying, when they were running out of
Marcy.
Marcy.
Shit.
But a lot of shows have, added that baby when the show has reached a peak and they're kind of like, what do we do next? We're out of ideas.
Like Dexter.
Yeah, and then it kind of dies.
I didn't even watch that show, and I know it jumped the shark when it added the kid.
Well, that's every show. You look at even Rugrats when they added another child. The show was done.
Stop caring.
Same with Fairly Odd Parents. Every show when they add that baby in there, it's a calling card that it's done. And I'm not saying that this show was having quite that, but it could have been something that they wanted to have the baby, but they want to like give you more of the possibility that there is one there, but we don't really want to involve it in the plot at all because it would really have no purpose to kind of introduce a child.
Mm-hmm.
So, because you have interactions with him and his wife, but is interactions with a child for this kind of show really necessary? Would it be over the top? Would it be too much? You know what I mean?
And in that same kind of vein, you have other shows that do like a similar thing with the whole like will they, won't they kind of relationships between people.
Yeah.
Like The Office has Jim and Pam, and
this
after
has
Jim
none
and
of
Pam
that.
get together, who cares?
Yeah.
And then another one that came to mind, especially when talking about babies, there's a show on Fox, I think, called Raising Hope.
That was
I'm
a
not sure.
great show.
It was a great show
Fantastic.
until they got married, and then I didn't care about it anymore. Because he has this like will they won't they thing going on with the girl from
Right.
the grocery store, and then they get married and everything's great and they're happy and they're raising hope together, and I'm like,
Because
this isn't interesting
That's
anymore.
towards the end, I think, is when they
Yeah.
finally got married. Which, like you said, it's kind of like when they introducing the child to it, where it's like, okay, well now the resolution's been done, so now it takes away a lot of tension that was underskirting the show, and that's also Raising Hope is another show I would highly recommend anybody
it's
to
so
watch.
much-
It's
oh, it's so
fantastic.
Have you seen Raising Hope, Kyle?
I think I saw an episode once.
It's by the same people that did My Name Is Earl, which is
Yeah.
another phenomenal series. But back to this one, because I don't want to get away.
You have Chinatown on the list?
I don't know. That was a heavy influence on the first episode. It was basically the plot of Chinatown.
Oh, so you mean like Chinatown? Oh, the Chinatown.
And then they end up in Chinatown.
Yo, that scene where he's giving legal advice to the guy, like, while during, like, a car chase scene, it's great. That show, like, I don't want to say that show doesn't take itself seriously. It takes itself seriously just enough
Mm-hmm.
to the point where they can still do comedy. I would definitely recommend this. Like, if you're listening and, like, you enjoy maybe our sense of humor, you maybe liked Chappie a little bit, maybe watch this movie. Watch this TV show.
Or just even like a slight dry sense of humor, something that's not overly serious or overly dramatic, but has little touches of it.
Yeah. There's no harm watching the first episode. If
Oh,
you don't like the first episode, you probably don't like it.
Right, and there's only 6 to begin with, so if you're looking to kill a little bit of time, it's a couple of hours worth of your time. I also agree, though. I would recommend this for someone to watch. Absolutely.
I'm happy to hear that.
Would you?
Absolutely.
It was on his good list.
True.
This is something that I can't think of anything. Like you said, it's hard to place why you like certain things. I can't think of anything that's like similar to it, where it's like when I find out somebody likes this kind of humor, I point them at this show. I can't think of anything specific, but like something will come up like that, and like you would love Andy Barker P.I. 6 episodes. Give it 3 episodes. Give it an afternoon. You're in for a treat.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess that was Andy Barker, guys.
That was Andy Barker.
So, I guess it's time.
We roll for the next.
Oh,
I forgot to pick something for the new.
you didn't?
I have so many things on my reserve. I'll make a snap judgment. Stall for time.
Okay.
Stall for time.
So,
Stalling.
what can I talk? Oh, I know what I can talk about. So there was something I didn't include in my weeks. There's a video game series called Danganronpa. It was
Alright.
kind of like a everyone's locked in a high school, and they end up murdering each other, and you have to figure out who murdered what.
Okay, and is this one where if you can guess it, that person dies? If you guess wrong, everyone dies
Yes.
except the... Okay.
Yeah. So there was a series of animes too. Like they did pretty well. They're doing something interesting though. They released 2 animes at the same time. One of which is the alternate story to what happened before the second game, and what happens in the future past the second game. And they're both releasing at the same time. Now, I'm going to explain something that it doesn't matter if you're not a fan of these shows. They're just doing something very interesting where almost each episode like kind of gives you an idea of maybe why this person's a little more mad here, or why this person's a little more like in touch with this person here, because they show up in different shows because they involve somewhat of the same characters.
All right.
And I don't think I've ever heard of anything else doing this. Like 2 different shows that go on simultaneously, but there are different ones in the past, ones in the future. And you, at the same time, get these character developments that are at 2 different ends.
Huh.
And it's really interesting. Like, if you're not a fan, probably don't watch it. Check out the first season. This one's a hell of a lot more in depth, but I don't know, I just want to give it some kudos for actually trying something interesting like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Alrighty. It's intriguing.
Okay, so I've made my choice.
Okay.
All right.
Actually, there is one caveat. It's going to be one of 2 things. Have either of you seen BoJack Horseman? The
Yes.
Netflix. Okay, then it's not going to be. It's not going to be BoJack Horseman. It's going to be 50-50. Have either of you seen that movie?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. Good premise, please.
So this is Joseph Gordon-Levitt finds out he's diagnosed with cancer. And then it's kind of like how it's a comedy, but at the same time not really.
Slightly morbid.
Yeah, it's like a dark comedy, I guess you could say. It's kind of just how he and his friends and family deal with his cancer and how everything works out afterwards. And I put it on my good list reserves because of Seth Rogen's performance in it.
Okay.
Which is surprising because I tend to not like Seth Rogen's. He tends to just be Seth Rogen.
Yeah, he hits the mark for me sometimes.
He is basically just Seth Rogen in this movie, but so he plays the best friend, and he does a really great job of being like, he's like the dude man bro best friend guy who does everything he can for his best friend and all this different stuff. But he's not like touchy feely, but he's really trying. Like he's trying his best to be there for his friend, but he doesn't know how because he's not used to that sort of stuff.
Gotcha.
And he does a really great job with that performance.
Well, it
of that
sounds
character.
interesting.
So that's the replacement.
Okay.
Okay.
So you already loaded that up. We can refresh the list.
Let's refresh this list.
Let's see
All
what
right.
we
So
roll.
now is this refresh going to be what it is, or
The refresh will be. I'm going to refresh it. That's going to be what we get.
okay? All right. Let's get ready to. Yeah. No, it's not that one. We will have words if it comes up to that one. All right. Here we go.
Okay.
It's another mic.
Whee! This one's called The Great Outdoors.
Oh,
I
good
I
list.
have no idea what it is.
I've never heard of this.
It's a comedy. Okay, think of a family that goes vacationing out in a log cabin with a lake and all this nice stuff, and a lot of shenanigans happens throughout the film. I'm trying to remember the gentleman. It's not Chris Farley. It's the other. Is it John Candy? It might be a John Candy film. I mix a couple of these actors their names up. I'm terrible with actors as is, but It's a really funny film.
Okay.
So that's why it's on my good list. It's got some really good moments in it. I think you guys are going to enjoy this one.
Is it
Fantastic.
like 80s, 70s, like older?
I would say it's of 80s.
Okay.
Probably an 80s film, early 90s at the latest.
Gotcha.
So actually, why don't we... I can give you the exact date in just a moment. Let me
Pop
see.
that into the Google, has it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right? So let's
Google
see.
that schmoogly.
The Great Outdoors. Scratching.
It's gonna be
Okay, it was from 1988.
Oh,
Late 80s.
close enough.
Late.
So yeah, we were I was we were in that
Ladies.
ballpark. So let's see here. The cast. Let's see. It was Dan Aykroyd is in the film
Okay.
as well. It's John Candy.
Okay.
So I really like this film. I think you guys are going to very much enjoy it. As well as Robert Prosky. If you remember, you probably have to see a picture of him. He plays an old man in so many films, but he's a pretty good actor.
I've seen him before.
If you pull up his picture,
yeah.
you'll recognize him immediately. He's another really good actor. But yeah, that's gonna be The Great Outdoors. It's funny.
Okay.
Don't want to give anything away. So
Sorry, Kyle, not this week.
I know.
I know.
I'm a little disappointed, but that's how the random goes.
That's how it was random.
Maybe.
your
Let's see
date's gonna
let's see
come.
what it would have been if we...
Oh,
Yeah.
Twin Dragons, 2 Jackie Chans instead of 1.
Maybe we'll need to just make a special.
No.
Episode 10 is Kyle. If you haven't gotten one by
If
episode
it's
10,
like-
it'll be Kyle. We'll draw a line in the sand somewhere.
Ooh, scaring the cat. She's attacking your back.
Yeah. All right. So. We'll see you next time, guys. Don't forget to email us if you have any suggestions. We are the 102cast@gmail.com.
Even if it's not just a suggestion, maybe you've watched something we've watched already, and maybe your thoughts on it. So
Or hell,
If
maybe
you want
even
to
the
email
stuff.
us an essay.
Even if you want to talk about maybe the stuff we talked during our weeks. Maybe you used the program Mike was talking about. Maybe you watched one of the movies Steve mentioned. Tell us about it. Well, we want to hear from you guys. Don't forget to like us on our Facebook page. We have a Twitter I never update.
I'll probably try to help you with that because I want to start using that in general.
Okay.
So I would not be opposed to assisting with getting us to some posts here and there and stuff
Awesome.
like that.
Okay, guys. We'll see you next week with The Great Outdoors.
Great Outdoors.
Is there a song with it?
No, I just kind of sounded like an
Mike
asshole.
just has a song.
He's got a song in his heart.
So I think you really should just announce each week. Have some
Oh,
Good night, everybody.
All right, guys. Have a good night. Take
Night.
care.